monster?
Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV.
Chronologically Lost with Joel and Jenna. My name's Joel. This is over here babbling into the mic before we go on is Jenna.
We are brought to you by Comeuppance Network. You can find all of our social media links at thishishowtowatchtv.com.
You can hit me up, as always, on the Twitter at _howtowatchtv. Comment under the video on YouTube. Get in touch. Let us know what you think of the show. You know, tell us where we fuck things up. Tell us where we got stuff right. Tell us, you know, what you're enjoying about it, what you hate about it, whatever. Try to make the best show we can. We are here for our 46th episode, which is fucking ridiculous.
It's crazy, and it's insane that the gnat is like right back in your face. Did
right.
you not see it?
No, it wasn't here.
Gone.
I've been sitting in this room for an hour. You have a gnat that
it's got to
follows
be
you.
the beer. Opening the beer. It's got to be it. Okay.
Hate it. Anyway, day 46. Oh, episode 46. Coincidentally enough, and day 46 on the island.
Wow.
Episode 46, November 6th through 7th, 2004, days 46 to 47.
I don't think I had started watching the show yet at this point.
What do you mean?
November of 2004. I don't think...
No, that's when it was on the island. But you're saying you literally hadn't watched the show.
Well, because it was... It started in September of 2004.
It started September 22nd, 2004, the day of the plane crash.
Yeah, so that was the first... I'm saying...
Imagine if they had a delay and they couldn't air it that day.
Oh, that would have really sucked. I mean, I didn't start watching it until at least, like, November, December.
I didn't start watching it until episode 18 or so was out. Which I'm kind of curious when that would have been. Lost.
I think it was winter of 2004 or 5.
Let's see if there's a release date for that. Oh shit! Episode 18. I didn't start until March, 2005.
You didn't start until March, so maybe I didn't start until.
Because Jeremy didn't start until after the first season ended. And because he watched the whole first season, and then he was like, okay, where's the next season? I'm like, yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
He's like, what's in the hatch? I'm like,
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Okay, so I wanted to talk about something very quickly before we get into the episode. The amount of Lost merchandise available is paltry. It's nothing. There's barely any. And
there's a lot of poultry, though.
Poultry, but it's still poultry nonetheless. Okay. There's a lot of stuff that's great. They're coming out with a couple new things. They came out with the mini Dharma van here. Just knocked over the beer.
Whoops.
Came out with a mini Dharma van that's all aged and looks like it's whatever. Let's see, what's the other one? The other one's behind here. The slightly bigger Dharma van. They're also coming out with one that's like this big. Compared to this one, it's like boom. I'm getting that one. It's like $60 on Amazon.
Giant?
Yes, like an actual. I mean, not actual, but it's like 1/18th scale or some shit like that. That's 1/43rd, I think, and that's like 160 something. I don't know. So, I'm always in the entertainmentearth.com lately has been where I'm finding all of the Lost merch that I had never seen before, and some of the stuff that they're releasing new. So, with that said, I went on that site the other day, typed in Lost, and I clicked sales, and looked to see what was on
which
sale.
Site?
Entertainmentearth.com. It's just this random ass website. It's a shitty looking site. It's nothing, but I clicked on sales and clicked on Lost, and boom, Claire and Miles these action figures or whatever, these 8-inch things were on sale from $37 for the two of them to $5 for the two of them.
On it.
So, of course, I'm going, $5 and it's got Lost on it. I spent, I think, $10 on buttons that some guy just fucking made at home. He just made them at home and I bought them for, it was like, I don't even know how many for, I mean, I'm not going to keep this up the whole episode. This will be a fucking nightmare to edit. But luckily, this is all at the beginning. So I'll buy anything with Lost on it is the point.
You got a patch at Comic-Con this weekend, right?
I did, yes.
Where's that?
I got 2 patches.
Oh, 2 patches.
I got a...
Oh, sorry, it wasn't Comic-Con. We went to Wizard World in Chicago.
I got this hatch, which I believe is Hydra, which would be the one where...
Pretty sure that's the...
Where's the Hydra station?
In the water where...
Nope. Where's the Hydra station? Come on.
The Hydra station?
The secondary island. The little island, that's the Hydra station.
Oh.
The one where they have the, where they could fill it with water.
I thought this would have been like the Viper station.
No, there's no Viper station.
Sure.
And then I also got this Oceanic Airlines patch, which I don't know what I'm going to sew it onto just yet. But, good stuff. All of that, good stuff.
Really exciting.
This next thing I'm going to show you, sort of garbage.
Sort of.
Right. Sort of is not even... I mean, look at this shit. Look at Miles. It doesn't look like Miles. Clearly not Miles.
It looks like a voodoo doll.
My favorite... I mean, okay, there's Miles. I'm going to show you Miles, and then I'm going to show you Claire. Which is fucking... That's not... I mean, what the shit is that?
It's garbage.
Like, they're the worst. They look awful, and my favorite parts is that obviously somebody just picked a... Somebody was like, okay, we need to make some official Lost merchandise, and somebody was like, great, what season are they on? They're on season 4. Okay, cool. They pop into season 4, they turn on a random episode, and they go, okay, I need to write down where everybody is. James Sawyer Ford. Oh, Dharma Initiative. He's part of the Dharma Initiative, clearly. I mean...
Obviously.
In season 4. No, it must have been season 5 then.
Had to have been.
Okay, sorry, I was wrong on that. So, then Juliet, the others. Really?
Not in season 5. She wouldn't have been. She would have been part of the Dharma Initiative.
Right.
If
Exactly.
Sawyer was.
Jack Shepherd, the Oceanic 6. What?
Were they flashing?
They were part of the Oceanic 6. Saeed Jarrah, the beach. Claire Littleton, the caves. What? The beach and the caves, I know they're different places, but they're not from there. What? And then Miles Strom, Freighter Folk. This is atrocious merchandise. However, I will buy all of them as long as they're on sale for $5. If they're on, I will never pay $37. Yeah, the rest of them you can get.
Look at Claire's pregnant belly in the picture. I mean, that is ridiculous.
It's
it
awful.
looks like somebody stuffed a pillow under her shirt.
Yeah, right. I don't know who thought Jack's suit looked good. Just everything about this is ridiculous. So, that out of the way, let's move on to the episode. Okay, so, day 46, we start at the beach, and Charlie approaches Hurley asking for information about the hatch. And Hurley lies and says nothing is in there, really, you know. It's kind of like a bunker from World War II, but newer. That's accurate, I'd say. I still want one.
A bunker?
No,
from World War II?
A hatch.
Oh.
Come on, fucking... A hatch? Come on, how great would that be?
I agree.
We must have a hatch at some point. Charlie's grilling Hurley, and he's accusing him of lying to him and the baby. And he's like, I wouldn't lie. He's like, oh, like the 150 million you're worth? Mm-hmm. He's like, 156, actually. Sorry, I got that confused with the 900 trillion I'm currently worth.
Right.
So me and the baby made of chocolate lollipops are just gonna fuck off that. Or we're gonna flap our wings and fly off the island. Lots of new faces. Did you notice that? Lots of new background people.
I think that in that scene, it actually looked like...
It wasn't Paulo.
It looked like him,
I know,
almost.
it
It was
wasn't.
blurry. So
Different guy.
Okay.
But I mean, Paulo was in the jungle.
Was it Steve? Or Scott?
Scott's dead.
One of them.
I was waiting for that joke when... God damn it, somebody was talking about it. We'll get to
Steve.
it. Yeah. Rose is back.
Yeah.
She's doing laundry.
Maybe, I mean, with all the laundry for 42 people...
She's been busy for days.
She's been super swamped.
And, I mean, to be fair, she's a woman. Her place is doing laundry. Yeah. So.
Not even
Nobody
gonna go
bothered.
there. I'm not going to touch that.
No. Let's see. Hurley makes small talk, and he's weirdly bothered that she doesn't care what's going on in the hatch. Like somehow he's like, you want to know? She's like, no, that's your thing. Go ahead, do
Yeah, you just tell me what I need to know.
It's not like it's gonna help get the laundry done. And he's like, actually.
Okay, yeah. My issue with that is he doesn't then take her directly to a washer and dryer. Why would it not have been the first thing that they went to?
Oh, once they went inside?
Yes.
Maybe that was implied, and they're just like, we'll get to that. I'll show her that stuff. No, I don't know. Good point.
Because later in the episode, she's back to freaking hanging laundry on a string. So that whole conversation was worthless. At the end of the episode, she's back clipping things up.
Are you sure that was her clipping things up? I thought I saw somebody else doing laundry at the end. Claire and somebody else were doing... Claire and Son, at the end of the episode, were doing laundry.
Rose
they haven't been in there,
back
though.
Out there. Oh. Are you sure?
Son and Claire? Yeah, they don't know about the hatch, really. I mean, they've said
I had
that we found a hatch,
a lot of technical
but...
difficulties after you texted me, and I said I was watching the episode, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't load anymore, and then I was watching for like 5 minutes, and I realized it was the beginning of the episode, so I had to, like, delete everything and restart it and find my place. So maybe I was thinking I was at the end, and it was just at the beginning when she was
feel free to
laundry.
watch along with us. Just go to search Facebook for Chronologically Lost, and there's a page. Apparently, there's also another version of Chronologically Lost. I told you about it, but I want to tell the listeners or viewers. There's a version called Lost Chrono, and the difference being, I don't even really know why you would want to see it this way. Although it sort of works. Okay, so it's chronologically for the characters.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that.
So the only difference being, really, that you don't get the 50s. That defeats the whole purpose. Honestly, it defeats the whole purpose of it being chronological, because if you don't get the 50s in the 50s, what the fuck? How does that work then? Because if it's chronologically for the characters.
So are they doing one character at a time, start to finish?
All they mean is that once you're on the island, you're on the island. But what they're also saying is that they're not showing you the 70s before they before they went back in time.
So then when they start flashing, it's just like how it aired.
Exactly. So that's...
It doesn't really help all that much.
Right.
Okay.
They're just meaning if you want to watch through the island stuff.
And then up.
If you want to see all their backstory before they get to the island, and then them crash, and then everything that happens from there goes into them.
It might make a little bit more sense that way, I guess.
I get. Oh yeah, for sure. If you wanted to come into it, you could probably watch it that way.
Yeah.
From scratch. I'll check it out when I'm done with Chronologically Lost, but we're not going to podcast
I'm not going to make any promises.
What?
That you're not
going to watch it? Fair enough.
I don't know. This is taking a long time.
Yeah, but it's not like it's unenjoyable.
Well, one episode a week is just hard, because you want to just keep watching.
If you could watch 5 episodes in a night, you'd be done with it in no time.
I would get 20 minutes into the first episode and still fall asleep.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so in the jungle, Hurley and Rose look for the entrance to the hatch. Doesn't it look different than when Faraday found Desmond? Like when Faraday knocked on the door and got Desmond to open it?
I thought it was a big door on the outside, and it was just all covered in grease.
It's behind shit. I mean, but I felt like that was different than before. Now, obviously, that stuff was filmed after, so they could have changed it, but it just seemed different for some reason. So she cautiously follows him in. I love the music as they're entering. I don't know. I can't even remember what it was now, but it was really...
It was good.
Yeah. She asks what the hatch is for, and then Jack is annoyed that Hurley told Rose. And he's like, Jack looks stressed at this point. Maybe take a nap or a shower?
Right. Well,
something?
nobody's... I mean, we don't know, I don't even know what day it is, but I hope that somebody has slept at this point.
It's day 46.
I know, but there was like 3 days there where nobody slept at all.
Right, because of the... Well, we don't see every second, to be fair.
I think we did on those 3 days.
Right, it does feel like they've been pretty real-time episodes.
Those were 24-hour episodes.
Right, Jack is annoyed that Hurley told Rose. She says she's here to help and she won't tell anyone, mainly because she doesn't know what she'd say if they asked.
Right.
Fuck, I don't know. At the beach, Claire is on a walk by the water, seemingly happy. She has a moment there where
she's like kicking her ankles together in the water.
Right, exactly. jumping up and clicking her heels.
I guess I'm just irritated that there's got to be a bathing suit somewhere, and she's walking around in her capris getting all wet. Because if anybody has ever been to a beach, they know that being wet and sandy at the same time is not fun.
Okay, but
especially in your clothes.
But you're going on that beach. First of all, there's nowhere to go without sand, really, unless you go into the jungle. So you've just learned to adapt, and the reality is you probably want to rather be wet with sand on you because it would keep you cooler. And then eventually it's just going to dry and flake off anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be a problem long term. I hate sand, trust me, but I hate it because I don't want it in my car. I don't want it back at the house. Like, leave it at the fucking beach. Yeah. It's fine there.
It's just like...
But leave me out of it.
Yeah.
So she finds the bottle with the messages in it and realizes the implications of that. Then we go to the opening Lost. What?
I'm just thinking about how uncomfortable it would be to have sand all over you all the time.
At the hatch, Jack and Hurley show Rose the pantry. It's fucking Nat. It's becoming a bigger part of the show. It may as well be a third member. Jack assigned Hurley to inventory and protect the food. No one gets anything for now, no exceptions. So, they don't know that there's more coming.
Right, which is fine.
I mean, it's fine now because they knew later, so they were able to set it up for now.
You would think that
I love
Desmond would have been like, oh, hey, just so you know, there's going to be food dropped off in like 4 days.
But there wouldn't have been for him. He would have... okay, so...
Said, one person for 3 months. Okay.
Yes, but up until that point, the drops were probably enough for Desmond for sustained periods of time.
Yeah.
Now they're going to increase in frequency and amount. Because they literally set it up when they were in the... Like, somewhere along the way, I don't know if Hurley, once he takes over the island, has the ability to go back into the past and change things like that and set up the food drops, or if when they got back to the Dharma Initiative in the 70s, or Faraday, or any number of people, like when he was in Ann Arbor, or Eloise Hawking, or somebody fucking configured it so that the food drops would go. It had to be Eloise, because where else would they be getting the print off from? That had to come from the lamppost station.
Right.
Yeah, to see what the coordinates were where they were supposed to drop the pallet. I don't know. Fucking.
I'm excited.
It kind of blows my mind. That's the very last thing you're going to see in the series. That's in the New Man in Charge. Yeah. The explanation of the pallet drops.
Don't they actually have pallet drops?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see it.
Okay. Well, yeah, that should probably be a next episode or something.
Right.
Rose hears the beeping for the first time, and Hurley sort of scoffs at his own salad dressing that he made in the 70s. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. Yeah. Like, try it, motherfucker. You would probably like it.
Yeah.
Dharma Initiative Ranch Composite. He finds some Apollo bars. Apollo bars. Oh. No, I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay.
She says never heard of them, but candy's candy. That's what Bernard always says. So I was thinking a dentist would fixate on candy like that, in the sense of all candy's candy, like in a bad way. And then she goes, he's got a mouthful of sweet teeth. So she's saying that he likes candy, and just any candy will do.
Right.
He asks if Bernard was her husband, and she goes, is. He's fine. I thought he was in the back of the plane. He was. Yeah, she's just fucking certain, so whatever. Hurley says everyone is going to hate him, and she's like, what do you mean? Everybody loves you. Then Kate just kind of strolls past, and she's like, you got shampoo? Yeah, it's over there, Rose says. And Hurley's like, if you could just... Kate, you can't.
Yeah. Oh, you shouldn't touch that.
And then Rose is just like, it's just one bottle. And he's like, yeah, that's where it starts. So I'm trying to remember what happened with Hurley that he's so traumatized about it. Was it the money from the lottery?
I guess, but I don't remember people walking all over him at that.
Or asking him, expecting money from him.
Yeah. I mean, maybe his buddy that he works at the place with.
Maybe something bad happened there, beyond him stealing his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can remember that happened, though. Him stealing the girlfriend.
That's all they showed, but we don't know what that guy was like, or, you know what I mean, if there was time. Well, no. We didn't see between the time when Hurley was announced as the winner, when he drove up to the place, and then they mobbed him at his car. That was when they were taking pictures here in a minute. You hear that when they're doing the flashing to black.
Right.
yeah, so we don't know what happened between that moment and when he stole his girlfriend. So there could have been weirdness where he was expecting stuff from Hurley because now Hurley didn't have to work and he did.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, in the jungle, Locke is walking around and finds a lemon, then calls Charlie out in an insulting way for following him. It's like, I saw you back at the rock, then at the mangrove tree, and we walked in a circle. I don't know how you didn't notice. He's like, all right, you don't have to be a dick about it.
Right, you don't have to be mean.
Yeah. And he's been following because he wants some answers. And he's defensive since he was the one who got the baby back. And nobody seems to give a shit. They're all worried about the hatch now.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go on the A-Team mission to the Black Rock, but he would have if somebody asked. Just ask me to be on your team. Locke asked him what he wants to know. We cut to the hatch.
And then he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, what do you mean, what do I want to know? I don't know stuff.
Do I want to know? Like, tell me everything you do know.
Yeah.
But he just kind of stood there like, I don't know.
Right. Again, well, how the fuck would he know what he needs to know?
Yeah.
That's a weird-ass question. At the hatch, Saeed is hacking at the concrete wall. Says it's 8 to 10 feet
thick. I
thick.
don't remember these scenes.
No? I loved it so much.
Yeah.
Jack shows Saeed the magnetism of the key, which I still think he just wore that simply for that scene.
Probably.
Saeed says they won't get in up here, let's try and go under. So they go down into one of the fucking vents.
A whole bunch of that's what she says.
In the tailies, Sawyer's offered a rope out of the pit. He isn't doing anything until he knows his friends are okay, and Michael's like, so we're friends, huh? They pull him out of the pit. And the way Michael says, they believe we were on the plane too. Didn't it sound like he was lying? Or like he had convinced them of a lie? The way he said that to Sawyer was like, yeah, they believe we were on the plane too. Like he... it was so bizarre. It was like, just fucking say it with some confidence. You were on the plane.
Right.
Like, they were also on the plane. Would have been a reasonable way to say that.
Well, I think
they know we were on the plane
finally
too.
they believe that we were on it.
Yeah, Sawyer, guess we can all sue Oceanic together.
Right.
Good stuff. I mean, fuck, how does he come up with that?
Yeah.
Writers, that's how.
Yeah.
Sawyer has a rock, and Anna tells him to drop it before the 3 count, and she hits him after 2, and he's like, you didn't say 3. If I say jump, you say you first. Just never relentless. That's what it is. He agrees to follow the rules, and then she says they're leaving. He asks where, and she gets in his face, and he's like, one more thing. If you hit me again, I'll fucking kill you, basically. Get out of my face.
Please hurry.
They march on, and I noticed they're in a soundstage rather than on the island.
Really?
That wide shot where they pulled back and like Sawyer and everybody started walking away. It was just like everything looks so fake in there.
Oh.
They just kind of, anytime they're just walking through something real quick, unless there's water and, huge tree. I don't know. It was so obvious it was just kind of filled with plants.
Oh, okay.
Weirdness. Let's see. In the jungle, Locke has told Charlie stuff about the button and Desmond. And he's like, didn't he sleep? And Locke has no idea where he went. He basically found his replacements, meaning us, and bailed. Charlie says it all sounds a bit nutty, and they're not going to find out what happens if you don't hit the button because everybody's taking shifts now. 2-person shift every 6 hours. And Charlie kind of perks up when he mentions there's a record player. So music, you get to hear some shit finally. He asks what Hurley's been doing down there, and then he tells him that he's been in charge of the food. So Charlie, of course, is going to then approach Hurley, who is sitting down by a tree on the beach, and Hurley's being all elusive and like, I don't know anything. I'm not doing anything. So everything's fine. Charlie says he knows about the food. Locke told him. He's like, oh, Locke's lying. He's like, what? About the button you have to press every 108 minutes or the island's going to explode? He's like, it's not going to explode. Gotcha. And then he tells him that Jack put him in charge of the food, and Charlie asks about the peanut butter. He says it's one jar for Claire and the baby. And Hurley's sort of being lame here.
What if the baby was allergic to peanut butter?
Right, fucking amazing. Can we kill Turnip Head with some peanut butter, please? Can we just give him some peanut butter and get it over with?
I don't think they have an EpiPen laying around.
Right, there's no EpiPen, and I hear they're super expensive.
They are now. That's crazy.
Let's see. So Charlie says he's become one of them. You know, the management. I thought we were friends. You've changed, man. Now that felt like something that stupid skinny friend of his would have said, that he's changed, when he didn't really.
So
the other guy changed.
Maybe that flashback was right there, and that's why they put the same conversation in.
Right. At the hatch, Jack and Saeed are underneath now. Concrete was poured down here too. Now, are they sort of like on a Man in Black type mission here? In the sense that he was always trying to circumvent finding it properly, the source, and he ended up finding the orchid. You know, the source at the bottom of the orchid. And this is them kind of trying to figure out, they don't know what they're looking for, really. I don't know that he knew what he was looking for, other than he wanted to find that light that his mom, or the mother, had shown him.
Right.
But it just felt like it was kind of in the same ballpark of them trying to circumvent the rules and get around it and find the source.
They just wanted to see what it was,
right,
and figure out if they really needed to be pushing this button.
Right. Saeed guesses a geothermal generator behind the wall as the power source. I think that they're down where Juliet was. They have to be. If you remember, when Juliet fell down the well, she exploded the bomb or whatever, and that released the pocket of energy. And then they poured concrete over it all.
So if they break up all the concrete, they'll find Juliet just laying there?
Right, in there. No, well, no, because she time traveled. She time traveled to 2007 after the hatch was exploded. I'm just saying that Juliet had been there before they then covered it, because they disappeared as soon as she...
After the hatch exploded?
As soon as she hit the bomb, they time traveled.
And she...
To 2007.
And where was she?
The same place, but in 2007. This is 2004. The hatch is still intact now.
So she time traveled into some concrete?
No, the hatch was imploded. Remember when they turned the key?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, that where the source is, or I mean where the source of this electromagnetism is where they poured all the concrete.
Okay.
And that's where Juliet was. She was as close to that as anybody ever was. So she was down in this stuff at some point. They built the hatch got imploded, and then she time traveled back into the same area.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it, like, that's fucking strange. Jack asks what Saeed thinks about the hatch in general, and then he mentions Chernobyl is the last time he heard of concrete being poured like this. Which, that's one of those things that just fucking fascinates me, too. Chernobyl, the fact that it's just empty now. You ever see, like,
there.
I know, you ever see, like, drone footage that people have taken? It's fucking so haunting, because nature is just taking back over. Nature's reclaiming the whole city, and like it's cool that I don't know.
The radiation is still so high.
It's still a thing, yeah. It's still a fucking issue.
So they have to put on like costumes and not costumes, but like
costumes,
suits.
Just like Comic-Con.
Yeah, they have to put on suits to go in there.
Chernobyl is basically like Comic-Con.
Okay.
There's a clanging of the pipes, and Jack follows it to find Kate finishing up a shower, and then he's like super awkward as she stands there in a towel. He's like, you want to do it, basically, with his eyes.
Ew.
She leaves the shampoo for him. We go to the tailies, and Michael and Libby introduce themselves. She says 23 of them survived. Mr. Echo asks if Sawyer's okay, and they start bantering until Anna's like, shut up! I told you to shut up!
She's so irritating.
She finds the door to the arrow hatch.
Is that what you put that one on?
I did. Arrow hatch. No way I'm going to find that spot and put that in.
No way.
It's way too much editing.
Why didn't you just pause it?
Right. What?
That one.
Because it'll just be... well, I guess I could, and it'll still sync up.
Be at the end.
It'll still sync up where it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway. So she finds the hatch to the door to the arrow hatch, and then knocks in a really stupid way. Do you remember?
Yeah, she was like... Oh. Yeah, and I'm going, who the hell heard that down that long hallway that they walked through? Or was Bernard just chilling right inside the door waiting?
Oh, she'll be back at some point. Yeah, Bernard opens the door.
I'm just going to hang out right here.
So Bernard opened the door here. This was after we saw him in the hatch originally. After we saw him inside this hatch. When he first comes out, when he says to them, have you seen a lady named Rose?
This was after that?
I'm saying in the real show. we saw the scene that we see in a little bit first.
Oh,
We didn't
why?
get this until the other 48 days. The outside, the hatch.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, because I thought Bernard was a black guy. I don't know why. When I first saw him in the hatch, because it was so dimly lit, I was just like, oh, Bernard's a black guy. That's her husband.
I don't.
And then it was like, no, he's clearly white. Oh, okay.
But wouldn't we have gotten a Rose and Bernard flashback already?
Not at this point. This was when he was first introduced.
Oh.
Again, this was right before the other 48 days. Let's see. Inside the arrow hatch, it looks abandoned. And Cindy is in there too, and then Michael asks Libby about the 23. She's like, well, there were 23. In the garden, the son is wearing her ring as she plants stuff.
No, she's not.
She is. She absolutely is. I noticed it right then. I saw the moment she lost it.
Oh, but she lost it during that? Okay, because I was
Because
watching...
the very first part of that scene, they showed her ring. And
Okay.
I caught wind, I was like, oh, okay, there's her ring's on. Then, when Claire and Shannon show up, she's like this. When she gets up to wipe her hands off.
No, wait, when she
Son.
was patting it down, she did not have any rings on. Because I was watching that. So I don't remember...
Aren't you talking about after? Yeah.
When she's burying the thing, she was patting down the sand and there was no rings on her finger. And then she put her hand on her legs and she had no rings on.
Yeah, they went out of their way to show us that afterwards. I'm telling you, the first shot of her there, I'm gonna fucking find it now in the episode. Good luck finding that. So okay, so here we go. We're under the hatch now, so we should be getting close to it.
People say that?
Okay, so here it comes. Of course, we have to go to dramatic Michael shot first. Wait for it. They're absolutely going to show her ring here.
You keep pausing and I
I'm
don't
trying
see anything.
I'm trying to find the shot that they showed because they went out of their way to show it. You could see it right there. You saw that her ring was on her finger.
Okay. That wasn't the shot that I was talking about.
Well, I know because she loses it here.
Oh.
She gets up and goes like this. Watch, and then her ring's gone. She just right then lost it. It's off. It's not on her finger there. I'm telling you, I noticed it. I'm like, holy
okay.
shit, that's the exact moment she lost it.
All right.
They distracted her. They showed up and it somehow
Yeah.
fell off then. I don't know how the fuck a ring just falls off like
No,
that.
it doesn't.
So they thought that she should know and should decide what to do with the bottle. You know,
Yeah.
again, the implications being that the raft is probably not doing very well. In the hatch, Locke is in the very small gun room. Still very small at this point. Hurley asks why he told Charlie, and he's like, because he asked. Hurley says Locke should have listened to him about coming down here to begin with. Now everything is going to change. And he's like, yeah, change is good. And he's like, yeah, people say that, but it's not true. You know who has to say, no, you can't have peanut butter for the cute blonde or her island baby? Me, I have to say that.
Yeah.
He wants to bail on the food job, and then Locke's like, my job's to convince people to push the button. I've had lots of jobs I didn't want to do, but guess what? I did them. And you don't get to quit. So Hurley then, of course, does what the natural next thing to do is go find some fucking dynamite and be ready to blow up the room. What?
No, I just don't understand that logic at all. I mean, how about just walk away? Go to the beach and don't go back to the hatch. I'm sure there's plenty of jobs on the beach that you could do.
Right.
People quit jobs all the time. It's over there.
I see it. Come on, come back. Come back right now so I can just end this. End the misery. It's gone. Disappeared into the TV. Okay, so he wires up the dynamite in the pantry. Rose catches him and he's just like, yeah, it's dynamite. Go away.
Yeah.
He says he can't let it happen again. She says somebody's got to get hurt. And then she gets angry. She's like, you dragged me down here. I deserve an explanation. And he's like, you don't get it. This is going to mess it all up. And we start flashing to black screen as Hurley rants about how it was all fine before the potato chips. Now everyone wants them. And if Steve gets them, then Charlie's going to be pissed. But he won't be pissed at Steve. He'll be pissed at me. I thought she was going to go, Steve's dead. I swore that was going to be another one of those things. You mean Scott. Steve's dead.
Mm-hmm.
What about us? Help us out, Hurley. You know, and then we hear cameras flashing, It's got to be when he won the lottery,
Yeah.
or when they discovered it. And then, why does Hugo have everything? Why does he get to decide? Then they'll all hate me, and he doesn't know what to do. And Rose kind of comforts him, sort of.
But doesn't give him any advice.
Right, just touches his arm, and that's about
It'll be
it.
okay.
No, not even it'll be okay, just touches his arm.
Right.
On the beach, Hurley is convincing Jack that the inventory is low, and this is the only way. And Jack's like, are you serious? Yeah, he's like, there's enough food to feed one guy for 4 months. And, you put me in charge of this, so... And he's like, okay. He's like, oh, really? Like, it's sweet. So he gives Charlie the peanut butter, very touching. He passes out food to everyone. Shannon shares some with Vincent. Kate and Jack have a bite to eat together. Aaron's happy. And a nice little montage of a moment of levity
cute.
in the show. Charlie surprises Claire with peanut butter, and she takes the smallest fucking fingerful ever.
Right, but
was
she
like-
dips in and then comes out and
It
there's
was
just a
like
tiny
the
bit.
tiniest little glob. It barely
No,
struck.
that's not. No,
That's
you
not how you peanut
a
butter.
whole spoon of peanut butter.
I mean, there's no spoons, but dip the finger in there.
That's
What
fine.
are you doing? So Jack and Kate are seen flirting through their meal, and it was interesting that happiness was brought by Hurley to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Hugo.
Yeah.
That's another way to put that.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie gives him a hug, and then Son is off to the side burying the bottle. Definitely no ring at this point.
Oh, okay. So this is the part that I was paying attention to then.
Where she was in the dark, kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. So, in the arrow hatch, Bernard asks Michael, Jen, and Sawyer about Rose, and they tell her that she's fine. And that was another touching one. He's like, oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And they introduce themselves. And then on the beach, Rose pockets an Apollo bar for Bernard and touches the ring that's around her neck,
Yeah.
which is pretty good. Then we go to day 47, where we start on the beach, and Claire and Son are washing clothes. It's been 4 days since the raft left. Feels like fucking forever.
It does feel like a lot longer than 4 days.
But then she says it could take
feel
up
like
to
it's
2
been,
weeks
like,
to find a
4
current.
4 weeks.
Right. It could take up to 2 weeks to find a current, and then Son notices her ring is gone right then and starts freaking out. At the arrow hatch, the tailies whisper about what to do next, and we don't really know them yet
Right.
in the way we saw it originally, so Michael assures Jen that he'll be with Son again soon, and he thinks they're trying to decide what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're gonna kill him or something. He goes, they'll probably eat us. They're moving out.
Super helpful.
And Michael asks where, and then to get food and water. They have a long walk ahead of them back to where they came from. Or back to where Sawyer and them came from. We go to the jungle. Anna exits the arrow hatch, and they all follow. And Sawyer wants to stage a prison break, and Michael just wants to find out what's going on first before bailing.
Pretty sure Prison Break was airing at this point.
It was. No, 2005. Yep, it would have been 2005. They need to gather food and water, move in groups of 2, and shut the fuck up, is basically Anna's edict. Michael asks what happened to them. Maybe we can swap stories down the road. And Anna says to take him with you, meaning Michael.
But don't they have plenty of time to chat?
Right. They absolutely do. She's
Plenty
just
of
being
time.
an idiot. She's just being stubborn. And,
Yeah.
well, it turns out they don't have plenty of time to chat. But Libby points out Michael's name when she says, take him with you. Libby's like, his name's Michael. Nah, just a little piece of advice, don't bother learning it. You or Anna, no reason.
Right, you guys don't need to know.
Don't
that.
worry about Michael. Don't worry about his name. It won't be relevant long
Right.
from now. Jen offers to fish, and then he goes with Anna and Bernard. At the beach camp, Son is going through everything to no avail, just fucking scrambling around, and then Jack notices and asks what's up. She tells him she lost her wedding ring, and she doesn't know when she last saw it. She's so used to it being on that she didn't even notice it wasn't there. And then Jack mentions the time he lost his wedding ring, and he went through the garbage outside the house and took apart the pipes in the bathroom because he was sure he dropped it down there. And he was just saying, the lengths he'll go to find something that's lost. And then she goes, what did your wife say? He goes, she never knew. How? He went to a jeweler and had them make a fucking replica. That's
Right.
great. And then he laughs, and then he realizes that probably isn't going to be a plausible solution for
Right,
her
that
in this
doesn't help
scenario.
at all.
Right. He's like, oh.
Oh, there's no jeweler
Yeah,
here.
there's no
That's really
jeweler
weird.
here. Anybody a jeweler? Anybody on the plane a jeweler?
Yeah, did he bring extra rings with you?
Yeah. he says his is now just rumbling around in his or rattling around in his sock drawer at home, and he offers to help her look, and she's sure it'll turn up.
Turn up?
Yeah, right. She is sure it'll turn up.
Hashtag turn up, turn up, turn up.
Terrible. Hashtag turn up, turn up. At the Taily Beach, Anna and Bernard are standing around with a net and a spear. Hashtag fish spear.
Yep.
And Jen is tossing the things that Jack used as a needle on Boone. Remember the son found the thing for him?
Yeah.
And he's just acting cool as fuck. He's just...
Right. He's got all day.
Right.
But, I mean, basically he's throwing out bait, and they're not even
Anna's
thinking about
being
that.
condescending as fuck, and Jen knows better. And then the way she says... He goes, does it look like I speak Korean? He just said the same fucking thing to you about English. Does it look like I speak English? Talk louder and more condescending, you stupid bitch.
Yes. Oh my god, she's the worst.
Jen casually stands up and flings out his net, and he pulls in a shitload of fish. And
There's only like 3 or 4.
well, but still, they weren't getting any with fish spear. Hashtag fish spear.
Right. They were using a net.
And they're
Hashtag
like,
fish net.
they're like surprised, and Jen's like, fish. Thanks, Jen. Super helpful. Fish. In the jungle with the tailies, Libby apologizes for throwing Michael and his friends in a pit, and he's like, you know, I never thought about them as friends before, but I guess one of them is. And she goes, not the redneck? No, not the redneck. She doesn't think she's seen someone so scared in her life.
But who is she referring to?
I don't know, Sawyer?
Sawyer didn't look scared.
But
he didn't act
I think
scared.
that's what she's talking about. She thinks he's scared because of the... Fuck, I don't know. I didn't quite follow. Because of the... He doesn't know what's going to happen to his shoulder. I don't know. I put Sawyer question mark. I really don't know who she was talking about. Who the fuck was Libby talking about when she said, I've never seen someone more scared? And she knows scared, she said.
Right.
Is that why they threw them in the pit? Yeah, that, and they have trust issues. Talking about... What was that guy's name? Fuck.
Goodwin?
Nathan. Remember Nathan? Where they were going to cut off his finger
Yeah,
and Goodwin
but
ended up
he
killing
wasn't
him?
in Other.
I know, but they didn't know that. They assumed he was because
Oh.
Goodwin made it look like he was.
Because Goodwin killed him.
Yeah.
You missed it.
Shut up! Damn it! Okay, so they're looking for fruit, but they picked it clean. They don't go inland anymore because that's where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sawyer is given a fucking badass knife by Mr. Echo.
Yes.
That he made, apparently.
I wonder if they have that on like eBay for you to buy.
Right, that would be cool to buy.
Yeah, I'm sure they would just ship that. No big deal. Nobody get cut.
They exchange names, and he's like, what, is it like Mr. Ed? Stupid. That was the worst of his one-liners. Michael said something and then went into the jungle, Libby says. Jen is going on about something, then says Walt. Just fucking say Walt from the beginning.
Right. Why do you...
Walt.
Yeah.
They mention they have a radio, and Sawyer asks if it works. Can you use it? She's like, oh, what a great idea.
Yeah.
We hadn't thought of that.
That's amazing.
Jen wants to go after Michael, and Anna wants to leave before Michael can tell them where the tailies are. So she thinks that he's, I don't know, one of them now too? She doesn't use much logic.
No, she's the worst.
Sawyer doesn't want to wait for him, and he says he's not coming back without Walt. And, you know, it's pretty much every man for themselves right now, and he's got to worry about himself. And then Mr. Echo tells Jen to wait, then Jen punches him, and Mr. Echo headbutts him. And he says he's going to go to find Michael, and then points him in the right direction and gives him a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Anna says they can't wait for him, and he, of course, says he doesn't expect him to.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later. He's like, oh, you promise?
Right.
You promise you won't wait for
I
us?
never have to see you again? That'd be
Because I would hate
fantastic.
that if you didn't wait for us. That would be the worst. At the beach, Hurley's telling Son to retrace her steps. She says she woke up, washed up, picked some fruit, cut it up to feed Vincent. And then Hurley thinks Vincent ate it. And he asks her if Seoul, Korea is in the good or bad Korea. I thought that was pretty great. She's like, good.
Which one's the good?
Not North Korea.
Why?
Because North Korea is the one with Kim Jong-un or whatever.
Oh, okay.
There's the demilitarized zone in between the two, and then South Korea is free. You're dripping all over the computer there. A little bit of drippage. So he asked if she went to the Olympics. I thought that was hilarious because Olympics just happened, and they were in Seoul, Korea at one point.
The Olympics were in Seoul?
The Olympics were in Korea, yeah. Wait, so let me find out when that was. Olympics in Korea. What?
Never.
It just literally gave me the Olympics. What the hell? 2008. No, that doesn't make sense.
What?
Which Olympics
Like I said earlier, if they don't
in
have,
Korea?
I said if they're not, if you're regular,
I have no idea. It just tells me the people from the Korea. It just tells me the ones that won stuff at the Olympics from South Korea. Korea Olympics 1988. Okay, they hosted the Summer Games in Seoul. Got it. So,
1988?
Yep.
Okay.
She thinks it's ridiculous to wait for a dog to shit out a ring, and he says when he was a kid, his dog crapped out $1.35 in nickels.
But he wasn't like sitting there waiting for it to happen.
That was what they were doing.
No, I'm saying when his dog crapped
Oh,
the
no.
nipples.
Right. He asked if she had a dog and says Jen gave her one, a puppy. Name was Popo.
Popo.
It means a kiss.
That's cute.
Right. In the Tailies jungle, Jin and Mr. Echo are inland, and then Jin runs out after Michael, but Echo tells him to stop, and then Jin gets hit by a boar.
Hashtag Borfer.
Meaning Mr. Echo has lock-like powers of boar hunting skill, where he just knows a boar that's going to be a boar.
I mean, I guess I could hear it.
I mean, there was a little rustling, but Jin didn't know what the fuck that was. Jin finds Goodwin dead, and it looks nothing like where Ben showed Juliet he was.
Right.
Nothing like it.
They
It was
were,
an
like, up
open
on a
fucking.
hill.
It
Yeah.
was at the bottom of a hill. We saw him die, and it was not there.
Yeah.
So that's just a fucking error.
Well, it was not. They were up on the top of the hill. Like, they had just walked up this.
Yeah, but they rolled down the hill, and then Anna was below him with this thing, and he fell onto it.
It was like an open trail.
Right, it was at the top of a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
And so that was weird. Another one in this episode where it was like, not quite the same as where you were before.
That's because they were filming the other 28 days.
48,
Or whatever it
I'm
is.
with you. Let's see. So Jin says others, and then, he basically confirms that it
Yes, they were.
was. Mr. Echo finds an aloe plant and gives it to Jin for his cut, and he points out that Jin is married. Now, Jin seemed to ask him if he was married, and I swear Mr. Echo said worse.
He did.
What the fuck does that mean?
I was waiting for him to follow it up with "I'm married to God" or I'm married to the devil, or like something that made any sense other than the word "worse."
Okay, so I was like, I went back and played it three or four times, like, what the fuck is he saying there? Worse? Okay, Mr. Echo asks Sun's name. And then at Sun's garden, she's ripping shit out in a rage since she can't find the ring, and she's crying, and Locke shows up asking if she's having a bad day. He offers her a rag to wipe her tears, and he sits down. And she asks if he saw her, and he's like, what, rip your garden apart? Nah.
Right.
Good, nice little moment there. She laughs. He wishes he had a garden to tear apart, and she's like, I never even see you angry. What are you talking about? He says he used to get angry all the time, frustrated too. And he says he's not lost anymore, which, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks how he did that, and he says the same way anything lost gets found, so he stopped looking. And he plants one of her plants back in the ground for her. And back in the jungle for the last scene of this episode, Mr. Echo finds a trail and says they don't leave tracks. So how? How do they not fucking leave tracks?
They don't step in the mud, even though their legs are covered in mud.
Right.
Back to Locke and Sun.
Sure.
I just thought it was cool to see that Jack and Sun had a conversation about their ring, and Jack was not helpful at all. And then Locke and Sun had a conversation about the ring, and Locke was super helpful. So
I think it's a science faith thing.
One
again.
of those things where
Locke believes that everything will work itself out.
everybody is following Jack, but he's not the right leader.
Right. And even though Locke turns out not to be the right leader, at this point he feels like the right leader.
He's only the wrong leader because he died.
Yeah,
That's
everything,
the
whatever
only
happened,
reason.
happened. But that's, he was always meant to die.
I guess.
He always had to play his role in order for Hurley to get in
And
power.
he was fine with that.
I don't think he was. Hurley, I mean, Locke wasn't fine with his role. He didn't want to die.
Well, he didn't know he was going to die.
I mean, he knew he had to die. If he told himself that he had to die.
Oh, yeah.
Or Richard Alpert
forgot.
did. Yeah. Craziness. Okay, Mr. Echo motions to stop, and Jin talks, and Mr. Echo puts his hand over his mouth and tells him shh. And then they hide and watch silently, and a group of people walk past. We see their eyes in the bushes, and then Jin's get real big as he sees a teddy bear being dragged behind the group, and that was the end of the episode. What the fuck was that shit? It was a tease. This is nothing. This is one of those fucking bullshit things that they put in there that was not a fucking real thing. What the fuck was the point of that? I'm trying to think within the logic of the story. Within the logic of the story here, we know that Ben and the others are just regular people.
Right. Living in a town.
Living in a town. There's literally no reason for them to have been walking around in the jungle like that with no shoes on, which they would never do. They get poison ivy, and fucking poison ivy sucks. They would get something. They wouldn't do that. There was no gain, especially if they weren't looking for them.
Well, they did dress up like others.
But only when they knew they
periodically.
were interacting with them. This is literally, we're just walking through the jungle like this.
It was just the first tease of the others.
Right. It was one of, yeah, but just wrong.
And they were showing us that the little kid that they stole from the tailies is still alive.
Zach and Emma.
Yeah. I mean, but why would Jin's eyes have gotten big from seeing that kid? Because he would have never seen the kid.
Because he saw the teddy bear or something. So he's thinking, oh, Walt. That's all. It had to be what it
I
was.
guess.
Maybe, I don't remember Walt having a teddy bear,
No.
but... Yeah, I mean, that's the episode, and we're still on day 47.
I did notice that when Mr. Echo and Jin were running through, there were some cool trees with like really cool overgrown tree trunks.
Mm-hmm.
They almost look like the upside down trees that have like the trunks are above ground, all
Yeah.
the roots and everything. So that wouldn't have necessarily been on a set.
Correct. No, it was that one shot. You can tell.
Yeah.
If you really look at them, you can tell. If it's not a wide shot or you can't see out of the frame,
Mhm.
you know it's not. It's not a real jungle scene.
Mm-hmm.
Any recommendations for other stuff? Have you been watching other things?
I did.
What are you watching?
Okay, so I finished Between, which was really good. Have you watched that one yet?
Between?
Between.
No.
It's about a town where all the adults die.
Okay.
It's really good.
Is
There's
it a
2 episodes,
series?
two seasons on Netflix.
Uh huh.
Well worth the watch if you have the time to watch it.
Okay.
I just started The Forgotten, which is
Is that? Which
That's
one
about-
is The Forgotten? I feel like I've started The Forgotten.
It starts out with a bus load of kids that drive off a cliff and they all die, and then it goes to 4 years later, and one of the girls just crawls out of the forest and walks home. And so like her parents are divorced and all this shit, and then their daughter is just there.
Yeah.
She looks exactly like she did 4 years ago when she got on that bus to go on the field trip.
Okay.
So, and I mean, that's
Where
the
it
gist
starts.
of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just started that one like 2 nights ago.
Okay.
And it got
Are you still enjoying it?
Yeah.
So
I
why
really
can you
love
watch
it.
more than 20 minutes of that? But Lost, you're gonna fall asleep.
It takes me, because I start those earlier in the night. Like, my Lost nights are usually like, I've worked all day, I came home, I cleaned, I did laundry, I
Right.
had dinner, I'm finally sitting
How's
down.
the new laundry schedule working out?
My laundry is done. Jeremy and Caden have to do theirs.
Okay, just checking.
We'll see.
Things that I've been watching. We did watch Stranger Things,
Oh, I watched that and
which
finished
was
it.
good. I mean, obviously that was good. I was talking to Andy at work, and he came in 2 days ago, and he's like, I watched the first 2 episodes. He's just kind of like, man. I'm like, dude, keep watching. I stopped after the first 2 for like a week, and then I started the end of it, and I watched the rest in like 2 days. So yesterday, he was at like episode 6. He's like, yeah, it definitely picked up. And then today, he's like, yeah, I finished it. And he's like, oh, I can see how it could have a second season. And I don't want to spoil it on here in case you haven't seen it.
No, but for all of our Lost listeners, episode 6 of Stranger Things has a Lost tie-in. That's when I texted you and asked if you had seen episode 6 yet.
I forgot what that was.
The tie-in with the electromagnetism and all of that.
Oh, okay. I can't really recall that.
It was
but I feel like if we're gonna talk, oh yes,
the kids were
the compass wasn't
saying that the compasses
north.
weren't working, and they realized that the compass was pulling to
Towards the door.
new magnet, which is So and that was cool.
Yes, it was a very Lost type show. It felt, again, I'm trying not to be too spoilery with it because people may not have seen it yet, but the stuff where they showed the
You can't even say anything.
No, the people working in the building that the cop eventually breaks into. Like, when they show the people in there, it feels like that might have been what the Dharma Initiative was like.
Well,
if we got to see them in Ann Arbor.
It was
It was kind of a Lost kind of a feel. It was in Indiana, but there was bloody noses and, stuff that was really like, okay, this is about as close as we're getting at the moment to something of that nature.
Well, it was based in 1985.
1983. Andy was telling me that it was the 70s. I'm like, dude, it's 80.
No,
it's got to be 80s.
It was 80 something.
He's like, no, the cars. I'm like, nobody has the brand new car.
No.
Like, not everybody's gonna have that year.
Yeah, it was 80. It was early 80s, so they were all smoking inside the buildings and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. It's funny to see that stuff now.
Yeah.
The other thing that I have become recently obsessed with, which you can watch on Netflix, but I recommend downloading from like Pirate Bay or something like that. You can find a better copy that has English voices in it instead of having to read the subtitles of a Japanese show. I've never been into Japanimation, anime, any of that kind of stuff. I hate the fucking lines when people get angry. There's just like lines blowing up from all sides. They're like, ah! It's ridiculous and over the top. However, this series called Attack on Titan is really fucking crazy. The basic premise being that 108 years ago, little Lost tie in there.
Nice.
108 years ago, the Titans showed up, and humanity erected these walls, these 3 walls, to keep them out. And the Titans seem to be mindless. They just want to eat people. But they don't even have a digestive tract, so they have no genitalia. They're like naked, weird. If you've ever seen the Black Hole Sun music video, do you remember that music video for Soundgarden?
Where they put the lipstick on like this?
Yeah, and then the lady gets a really big creepy smile.
Yeah.
That's what the Titans look like. But they're asexual, seemingly. And they just come in and they fuck shit up. They're like anywhere from 30 to 50 feet tall. And then, I don't know, it's some colossal Titan shows. This is all like in the first minute. Okay. So I'm not even spoiling anything. Basically, the idea is that humanity are caged. And there's not, most people are just like accepting of it. And, everything's fine. The Titans haven't been around in 100 years. They're just outside the walls. They can't do anything. And boom, a fucking hole in the wall. And then all the Titans are in. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's so fucking compelling.
It sounds terrible.
It sounds awful, but the idea...
Having to read subtitles?
No, but don't. No, download the version. It's in English voices now. That one, and it's not even the same words.
No, all the episodes that I walked into Jeremy watching for weeks.
Right.
And I'm like, what? How are you even watching this?
It's tough. It was a tough watch on Netflix.
He's playing video games while the subtitles are going on. There's no way that you're winning in Call of Duty and reading subtitles at the same time.
The hard part about that show is you literally have to be staring at the screen the whole time. You can't have a conversation with anybody. You can't have anybody in the room that you're making eye contact with. Eyes have to be locked on it. So, like I said, download the version that's on Pirate Bay or any number of torrent sites. And then, give it a rating on Netflix. Season 2 is coming out in... this show came out in 2013, okay? Jeremy and I... he discovered this recently, told me about it. I got super into it. We went to that Wizard World thing, and there was some Attack on Titan stuff. I'm like, sweet!
Yeah.
Only then did I find out the show came out in 2013 and not this year. So if we had watched this in 2013, we would have watched it and that would have been it. Because there would have been no, when is the next season coming out yet? They didn't know then that it was going to take 4 years. So we would have waited 4 fucking years for more of the story.
Oh my god.
So we lucked into this, okay? Listen to this. The next season comes out in the spring of 2017. The game comes out next week. The American version of the game comes out next week. Get the fuck out of here. It looks so much fun. There's these 3D maneuvering devices that they use to kill the Titans, and it's fucking cool.
Lots of stripes in the air.
Stripes?
Like lines.
Yeah, they're shooting out these things. It's kind of like a Spider-Man
Like a
kind of thing,
lightsaber.
but no. Watch the show. It's really...
I want to.
The best is the subtitles for the opening credits. It's like, false prophecy, question mark, livestock complacency. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? So
Bad
bad
translations.
translation. What they're saying is, though, humanity is like cattle. We're cattle. We're behind these walls. We can't do anything. We're at the whim of the Titans. I mean, it's a
Okay.
fucking crazy show. Watch it. Trust me. If you like Lost, if you like any of these things, it's this show where it's like all the little squabbling, the petty bullshit between people is wiped off the fucking face of everything.
Please watch Between,
Yeah? Why?
because I don't think you'll like it.
Is there something relevant to what I was saying there that
Kind
made
of.
me think of that? Okay. So those are our recommendations for the week.
That's
Lena, I told Jeremy once we downloaded the English version, I'm like, let's watch a couple episodes a night and watch it together, and you know what I mean, whatever. So he tells me yesterday, he's like, I'm on episode 8. Sorry, bro. I'm like, God damn it, I watched the first 2. And
Yeah.
Lena was like, I want to watch the show with you now that it's in English.
Yeah.
She had kind of walked in on me watching the subtitle version. Was like, this is ridiculous. What am I supposed to do with this? So she watches the first episode to get caught up, and then episode 2 we watch together. And then the next day I come home, Jeremy tells me I'm on episode 8, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then Lena's like, Dad, I'm on episode 20. I'm like, what the fuck? I only watched to 15 in the subtitled version. You're
Right.
further than me.
Yeah.
She's finished it and has started it over already.
Oops. These
Ridiculous.
kids have way too much time. on their hands.
There's something
Get a job.
that has suckered me in on this show. I don't know what it is. I hate the look of stuff.
I'm gonna go home and watch Forgotten.
This whole thing has been forgotten.
This is how to watch TV.
See you later.
All these memories in my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind. I'm still a secret lemonade drinker.